Big fish shit. Ooh, ooh. Welcome to the podcast. Hope y'all enjoy it. Hope y'all learn something. And most importantly, we hope y'all elevate. Let's get it.
Big fish, hit a big lick. We gon' bet it right back and hit a big flip. We been up for a minute and we still lit. Yeah, them cats gon' talk, but we don't feel shit. We just giving y'all gems y'all can live with. Elevate your mind, never mind all the bullshit. Finna talk about stocks, we ain't worry about ops. First get the bread up, then buy back the whole block. 10 toes down, we ain't never gonna stop. I'm a man of my word, I ain't never gonna flop. If I said it, then I meant it. Real ones gon' respect it, and it's still OG. It's in me, I represent it.
Oop, oop. Y'all know what it is. All right. Big fish shit. I got something for y'all today. This is going to be real quick. I feel like I always say that. But this one, I'm actually going to break out. Let me break out the Google search for y'all in the dictionary. So this is going to focus on how in society we always hear, it's almost like bragging about, oh, I'm independent. I want to be independent. And one of the issues that has affected our community the most, the Black community, are children growing up in single parent households. And it's just stats. I don't know the stats, off the top of my head, but, feel free to look them up. It's just obvious that a child growing up with both parents in the home is more likely to be successful. And it's not even close. It is not even close. More likely to be successful, less likely to go to jail, all of these things. So it would seem to me when we're trying to figure out, how to maneuver through society, that one of the goals would be to have this family structure with, both parents being in the household. And especially aside from, we always talk about generational wealth, but just creating the best environment for your children to grow and eventually become successful, both parents need to be in the home. So when I always hear people bragging about, oh, I'm independent, I don't need this, I don't need that. Is that really the energy that we need to be focused on? And I'll give you an example. I have a friend and she has 2 children by 2 different fathers. And we were just having casual conversation, just kind of joking around. I'm like, yeah, you need to settle down. What's up? And then her friend was in the background oh, we don't need no man. Don't nobody need no man. We independent. And I'm like, okay. And then she started saying it yeah, what you mean? I don't need to settle down. I'm out having fun. And I'm like, okay. And to me, it came across as extremely selfish because you have 2 kids. So even though you may not need a man, what about your kids at home? I just told y'all that your kids are more likely and by far to become successful and to flourish in life with 2 parents in the household. So you running around screaming that you're independent and don't need a man, that's the most selfish thing. Think about that. What about your kids? So, and just to kind of I looked up the definition of independent, and it's not depending on another for livelihood. And when I think about that, we're supposed to be a team. A family's supposed to be a team. So let's say, and if you don't want to have a man, if you don't ever want to get married, you don't ever want to have a family, then cool, this isn't for you. But for the people that do, let's look at it like this. I always relate things to sports. I've never tried out for a team, talked to a coach that I was, hoping to get a scholarship with, and said, yo, I'm independent. And that be a bonus. No, it's the opposite. I'm selfless. I work well with others. I play my role. I play it well. So when we put out this independent, we always hear there's no I in team. So why do we expect to have an I in a relationship and for it to work? And it's easy to say that, oh, well, I can be independent just to make sure. And I get it. You want to make sure that if something doesn't work out in your relationship, that you can hold it down on your own. I get it. However, it's very hard to change. Like I said it before, one of the hardest things for anybody to do is change their ways. So therefore, if you've been going through life your entire 20s, maybe 30s, and you've had this independent mindset, it's very hard for you to now shift into a team mindset. So I looked up another word, interdependent, and it's of two or more people depending on each other. When I think of a team, let's say football, the running back is dependent upon the quarterback getting them the ball and then dependent upon everybody blocking. That's a relationship when people are depending on each other to fulfill your role for the greater good of the team, or in this case, a family. So when we brag about being independent, it's really like we're pushing, like words are intentional, right? So what you say, your words are powerful. So if you're intentionally speaking about being independent and bragging about being able to take care of things on your own, then you would have to assume that you're more likely to not be able to make that adjustment when it comes to being a part of a team. And let me say again, if you don't want a family, if you're not looking to have kids, if you're not looking to get married, all of these things, then this is not for you. However, if you are, this is something that we have to understand, that we're continuously pushing this out to our culture and it's not benefiting us. I think the numbers are 80% of Black families, Black children grow up in households where it's just a single parent. That's crazy. That's crazy. And when I think back, and I've looked at the numbers before, where, the further you go back, and you look at when we were struggling the most, when we were going through Jim Crow, going through all these errors, going through slavery, we needed to rely on each other. So and it allowed us to become more successful. Now, I know people are going to say, well, back then, we had to, the women had this role. I get it. However, we have to figure out a way to raise our kids in households where both parents are together, just for the sake of our kids. Once you have a kid, what more is what greater responsibility do you have once you have a child than raising that child and providing an environment that will allow that child to have the best chance of flourishing and being successful? So maybe we should kind of shift our thinking into not bragging about being independent. I get it. Like I said, I get it. If, we all want to prepare for the worst case scenario. However, maybe, part of the reason why we are not staying together and raising our kids is because we have this mindset where it's like, oh, it's perfectly fine being independent, being on my own. I got my friends. And it's just sad. It just creates, a culture that is not conducive to, us achieving the goals that we need to achieve. When you look at the most successful people in the world, they're married. You look at the most successful families, like that family structure is so important. And us running around bragging about it being independent, that's not a team. That's not a family. Look on any team, basketball team, football team, like any sports team or any other team on your job. You rely on other people to fulfill their roles. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what it takes to flourish. Now, if everybody was just only worried about my work, holding this down by myself, it wouldn't result in a win in all these other areas of life. So why do we think it would result in a win in our family structures? The numbers are there. The facts are there. This isn't just me just throwing this stuff out of nowhere. These are real things. These are real numbers. A child is more likely to become successful when they grow up in a home where both parents are there. Now, of course, everybody's going to go, well, what about this? LeBron James grew up in a single family. Let's focus on the majority of people instead of trying to rationalize arguments based on the very select few minority. So that's really just my take on it. And maybe we can elaborate on it throughout the week and really talk about this and dive into it a little bit more. But it's something that I shouldn't say I always thought about it, but, just lately over the last few years, it's like, damn, we're the only culture of people that are pushing this independent shit. And we're losing. So maybe we just need to rethink things together, as a couple. Maybe we need to, the men need to come to the table with the women. Hey, how can we make it so you don't need to feel that you need to just have this super independent mindset on both sides? So I don't know. So that's just kind of like my thoughts on it. I'm not blaming either side. Just kind of just saying we need to rethink this, because what we're putting out into the energy, this independent energy, is not conducive to having a team, a family, and creating the generational wealth and creating an environment for our kids that will give them the best chance to be successful. And I would think that would be our number one priority as parents. So, big fish shit. Would love to hear your thoughts. All right, I'll see y'all. We here. Big fish shit. Ooh, ooh. Welcome to the podcast. Hope y'all enjoy it. Hope y'all learn something. And most importantly, we hope y'all elevate. Let's get it.
Big fish, hit a big lick. We gon' bet it right back and hit a big flip. We been up for a minute and we still lit. Yeah, them cats gon' talk, but we don't feel shit. We just giving y'all gems y'all can live with. Elevate your mind, never mind all the bullshit. Finna talk about stocks, we ain't worry about ops. First get the bread up, then buy back the whole block. 10 toes down, we ain't never gonna stop. I'm a man of my word, I ain't never gonna flop. If I said it, then I meant it. Real ones gon' respect it, and it's still OG. It's in me, I represent it.